all hands on deck. A direct and heartfelt call to all Nigerians.
The conference ended with a call for Nigerians to stay hopeful, committed to the nation's collective journey of reform and development. Ubong Usoro for Global Television.
Thank you so very much, Ubong. Nigeria's health sector has seen both progress and setbacks over the last 10 years, from improved disease surveillance during outbreaks to the mass exodus of doctors and nurses. The story is one of mixed fortunes. As the country marks their 65th anniversary, our correspondent Zarau Nasir takes a look at how the health sector has fared in the last 1 decade.
10 years on, Nigeria's health sector shows gains in infrastructure and disease control, but facing a worsening human resource crisis. The question is whether government can stop the brain drain while sustaining care for millions who depend on public hospitals. Over the last decade, investments after the COVID-19 pandemic improved laboratories, surveillance, and vaccine delivery. However, a deeper crisis persists, which is brain drain. Thousands of doctors and nurses have left for better pay and safer working conditions abroad. Some Nigerians call on the federal government to look deep into the health sector by making facilities available and improving the welfare of the practitioners.
Nigeria government to look into it, to look deep into the health sector. They should make facility available, And I think, I would also want to advise the Nigerian leaders to make everything available.
Sometimes you get there, you will not even meet a doctor. Sometimes you meet one doctor serving more than 100 people. Before you know, you see most people down. You meet a nurse, the same thing.
I just say a word just now to clarify the whole thing. That is me, you understand. Health sector, a lot, you understand. So at least one thing can spoil the whole thing. You understand? Being it health sector, okay, fine, let's assume the Nigerian government decide to tackle the health sector. What about the other things?
The chairman of the Nigerian Medical Association, FCT chapter, Dr. Ayogu Emeka, assessed the health sector in the last 10 years.
We are not making very good progress. We are not making, especially public hospitals. Let me tell you, even where we have made some inroads, it's private hospitals that have really tried to bridge the gap. But because the service they offer is not accessible to the poor masses, there are still a lot of gaps. Private hospitals have done a lot of things, those things that are used to encourage people to go outside to look for services.
He also suggested that 50% of the budget should be allocated to health sector to boost the health facilities in Nigeria.
That 50% of the budget should be allocated to health. As I speak with now, it's either 5% or less than 5% that will still allocate to the service of health delivery in the country. That appears to have marred so many things. And as I say, they're telling you that it's an issue of funding, poor funding of health sector. And this poor funding have created so many problems, which includes poor remuneration to doctors, poor remuneration, poor health facilities.
The project delivery lead of the Africa Health Budget Network, Amina Khalid Muhammad, says there should be better health financing, adequate welfare for health workers to make the sector more vibrant.
The two areas that we need to focus on to boost the health sector would be health financing and accountability. So health financing would mean we would have adequate allocation for a lot of our health budgets. We would have those allocations being timely released and adequately utilized. Now, once we have those happening perfectly, then I do believe we would see a lot of our health impact, or rather the impact we want, all of the beautiful strategies and policies that we have, we would see it come to fruition. We would see us implementing them.
With adequate funding and improved welfare, it is generally believed that the health sector in Nigeria will meet the required global standard. Zahra Udas, reporting for Global TV News.
We appreciate you, Zahra, for taking our time to highlight those very salient issues and concerns for us. Let's turn to Imo State now, where Governor Hope Uzodinma has described Nigeria's 65th independence anniversary as a milestone, noting that 65 years of nationhood is no small feat. The government made this known at the Independence Church service at the Government House Chapel, Owerri, the state capital. Our correspondent, Marachi Ibe, has the rest of the story.
Governor Hope Uzodinma noted that despite challenges, the country has continued to stand united, adding that the anniversary is a time to reflect on Nigerians' journey, renewed hope, and strengthened commitment to national progress. He urged Nigerians to remain resilient, patriotic, and committed to building a greater nation, assuring that with collective effort, Nigerians' future remains bright.
65 years in the life of a man is not a joke. In Imo State, the government of Imo State has decided that where we are, a lot of things must change, particularly our way of doing things.
Uzodinma used the medium to inform Imola that President Bola Tinubu will be visiting the state on Tuesday, the 30th of this month, to commission key projects executed by his administration.
So I want to congratulate us and use the opportunity to inform you that the President of the country will be visiting Imo State on Tuesday. And while in Imo, he will be commissioning Owerri Wuse to Umuahia Road. He will also be commissioning the twin flyover at Asonta Roundabout. And he will also be commissioning Chief Emmanuel Iwuanyanwu International Conference Center.
In his homily, Monsignor John Iwe congratulated Nigerians on the country's independence anniversary and stressed that for the nation to make real progress, the plight of the poor must never be ignored.
So far, 65 years, we are now elders, we are now senior citizens as with age. The rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer. What do we do to bridge this situation, especially the critical situation of our country today? We can't neglect the poor, the needy, the outcast. We must have something to do with them, for them.
As Nigeria marks 65 years of independence, the message from both the governor and the clergy is clear. Unity, progress, and care for the poor remains the guiding path for the nation's future. From Owerri, Amarachi Ibe, reporting for Global TV News.
Away from Imo State now, President Bola Tinubu has invoked provisions in the NYSC Act and approved a far-reaching reform which makes compliance with the national policy for the Nigeria Education Repository and Data Bank a mandatory requirement for mobilization into or exemption from the National Youth Service Corps (NYSC). The compliance directive was contained in an item enforcement circular recently issued by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, who conveyed the approval for the adjustment of NYSC mobilization criteria in accordance with the President's regulation requiring proof of the data bank policy compliance for all prospective corps members, regardless of where they were educated. Apart from provisions in the policy meant to check certificate racketeering and the abuse of honors conferred on individuals by academic institutions, one of the new mandatory requirements of the Nigerian students contained in the federal government's policy is the deposit of academic outputs, which includes thesis or project reports. The Federal Ministry of Education has launched the 2025-2027 Communication Strategy and Framework to enhance policy engagement, transparency, and public trust in Nigeria's education sector. Speaking at the launch in Abuja, Minister of Education Dr. Tunji Alausa describes the strategy as a blueprint for telling Nigeria's education story with clarity, credibility, and consistency. Dr. Alausa emphasized that effective communication is a critical success factor in achieving the education goals of President Bola Tinubu's Renewed Hope agenda. The Commandant, Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Federal Capital Territory Command, Olushola Odumosu, has ordered the deployment of 4,500 personnel across the FCT and its environs ahead of this year's Independence Day anniversary celebration. In a statement by the Core Public Relations Officer, Monica Ojobi, it says the officers deployed across strategic areas are from specialized departments and units such as Female Strike Force, Arms Squad, Operation Adakasu, Critical National Assets and Infrastructure, and Chemical, Biological, Radiological, Nuclear Explosives. The deployment is aimed at ensuring that security of lives and property, as well as critical national assets and infrastructure in the Federal Capital Territory throughout the celebration. Drug abuse has become a growing concern in Nigeria, with Abuja not left out, as many youths fall victim to the dangerous trend. Despite efforts by government and health agencies to curb the menace, cases of addiction and its devastating impact on families, education, and society continue to rise. In this special report, Kabir Hassan was on the streets of Abuja to hear what youth have to say.
Abuja and other parts of the country, drug abuse remain a silent crisis, eating deep into the lives of young people. On the streets, many say peer pressure, unemployment, frustration, and the search for temporary relief are among the leading causes of pushing many into substance abuse. Drug abuse actually affects your life in terms of business or something you want to achieve. It will be as a blockade to you because when you take it, it takes away your mind. Drug abuse makes you lose focus in life. Maybe you have plans or goals to achieve. Use of illicit drugs will make you not able to achieve them.
Frustration. They just want to take something that will make them forget about their problems. So that is why majority of them are taking things that will make them go out of their senses so that they can forget their problems.
Others say beyond identifying the problem, solution lies in stronger awareness, campaign, proper rehabilitation centers, family support, and collective effort of the government and society.
Ban
all companies in Nigeria who produce them and ban imports from foreign countries. Stop selling them. It will be one of the ways to curb it out. Government should create awareness by organizing programs on the implication of drug abuse and show example of those who use of illicit drugs affects, and also parents should also train their children well. When asked for advice to drug abuse, many stated that those yet to be exposed to destructive paths. The advice is clear: drug abuse destroys potentials, dreams, and lives. Staying away is the only way forward. For me, I will say a very capital no to everyone who wants to start drug abuse, because I know it's not good.
I say no to the youth coming up because it's not good. It's not good at all.
Drug abuse remains one of the biggest challenges facing Nigerian youths today. But with the right choices and stronger societal action, the tide can be turned. Kabir Hassan, reporting for Global TV News.
As always, say no to drugs because they ruin life. You're watching the live broadcast of News Cycle. When the rest of the news returns, federal government moves to avert fuel supply crisis, promises stability. Details coming shortly, plus foreign export stories on the other side of this break for you. Please do stay with us. The second part of this news broadcast now returns with business. The nationwide strike declared by the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria today has paralyzed operations at key oil and gas regulatory institutions, including the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, and the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority. The industrial action, which followed the weekend directive by the union's National Executive Council, saw members across the country withdrawing their services effectively shutting down critical agencies that drive the country's oil and gas industry. NUPRC headquarters in Abuja, the main gate was firmly locked, leaving several employees stranded outside the premises. Security operatives on duty confirmed that no staff were allowed entry in line with the strike directive issued by the union. In the meantime, the federal government has assured Nigerians that there would be no disruption in the supply of refined petroleum products following concerns over the Naira for crude oil arrangements and disputes involving the Dangote refinery. In a statement issued by the Ministry of Finance after a meeting of the Steering Committee of the Domestic Crude Oil and Refined Product Sales in Local Currency Initiative, the government stressed that energy security and stability in the downstream oil sector remains a top priority. Former lawmaker and constitutional lawyer Senator Ita Enang has commended President Bola Tinubu for initiating bold tax reforms aimed at boosting Nigeria's revenue base. Senator Enang, who represents Akwa Ibom North East in the Senate and also served as special advisor to the late President Muhammadu Buhari on National Assembly matters, made this known on Global Television's current affairs program, Big Talk in Abuja. Our correspondent, Topsy Gimba, now reports.
Speaking on the program, Senator Ita Enang described the tax reform drive as a foresighted initiative that's already yielding positive results for the nation's economy. He says the reform is a bold step and it is working to improve government revenue and fiscal stability.
Thanks to the ingenuity of the tax laws of the Tinubu administration. And there is a lot of competing, the non-oil revenue competes very seriously with the oil revenue and has exceeded the oil revenue.
The former presidential aide also expressed delight at appearing on the Global Television and across Nigerians to continue following the station's programs for credible information. Topsy Gimba, Global Television News.
Now time to turn to the foreign scene for you. Calls for urgent action in Gaza have echoed through the halls of the United Nations General Assembly in New York as world leaders used the landmark 80th session to spotlight the worsening humanitarian crisis, demanding concrete steps toward peace. Edikon Michael now reports.
The plight of Palestinians dominated discussions, with diplomats warning that speeches alone will not shield civilians. Many insisted on accountability for Israel's action and urged decisive international measures. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in his address pledged to continue military operations in Gaza, dismissing accusation of genocide. Meanwhile, Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas called on Hamas to surrender arms and respect legitimate state authority, distancing his leadership from the group's October 7, 2023 attacks. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres warned that nearly 2 years after those attacks and Israel's devastating response, the world is facing one of the darkest chapters in the decades-long conflict.
As we mark the 80th anniversary of the United Nations, I invite you to return for a moment to our earliest days.
As the General Assembly closed, world leaders left with pressing questions still unanswered, and the people of Gaza waiting for more than promises. Edikon Michael, reporting for Global TV News.
Foreign correspondent Michael Edikon, thank you so very much. Now let's take a look at sports. The FIFA Under-20 World Cup kicks off with a thrilling encounter as Nigeria's Flying Eagles face Norway's Young Vikings in Chile today at 9 p.m. West Africa time. Both teams recognize the value of a strong opening match, setting the stage for an electrifying clash that promises skill and intensity under the Chilean night sky. And that's a full circle on the news here. A quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms using the handle at Global TV NG as well as other handles as you now see on your screen. I'm Uyi Agmofwegwe saying a big thank you to you for watching. I'll see you soon. Thank you.